If you have not heard, our planet is dying due to climate change, also known as global warming. Climate change is defined by NASA as a change in our global climate patterns due to increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuels. In simple terms, this means that with our use of deceased organism remains, coal, and natural gases, we are warming up our atmosphere so quickly that the Earth can't keep up with absorbing all the carbon dioxide and energy trapped inside. A lot of people don't seem to understand is that climate change is killing habitats and animals right now. If just half of the people living on Earth right now tweaked their lifestyles even a little bit, it would help save the Earth and help climate change. Scientists have estimated this is the last decade we have to reverse the effects of climate change. We are the last hope for future generations to live. We can either stand up and be lauded by them or vilified. Climate change is a fact and not a conspiracy. We know that climate change is real and not a conspiracy because of evidence gathered by multiple scientists and organizations. We can help our planet by tweaking little everyday things that we do. There are steps we can take in helping our planet. Looking towards the future, new generations will be able to live their lives as we did with our help of changing little things in our everyday lives. There are people out there that still don't believe that climate change is real when it is a very serious topic. We still have people that ask politicians, do you believe in climate change, when you should really be asking them if they understand it. So I'm asking you, do you truly understand climate change, what it's doing to the Earth, and how it is affecting you? A simple 1.5 Celsius degree increase will put 20 to 30% of species at risk, eliminate 90% of Earth's coral reefs, cause heat waves, droughts, stronger hurricanes, deforestation, and the list goes on. Environments such as forests, coral reefs, and glaciers are currently being destroyed by this changing climate and therefore killing all animals that live in these habitats. The Center for Science Education website in 2011 states that climate models predict the Earth's global average temperature will continue to rise in the future. It will cause a change in precipitation, melting snow and ice, rising sea levels, acidic oceans, and changes in its currents, severe weather, more clouds, changes to overall life, and the carbon cycle. Through Inside Climate News website 2019, Senator Bernie Sanders stated that we now have less than 11 years left to transform our energy system away from fossil fuels to energy efficiency and sustainable energy if we are going to leave this planet healthy and habitable. This increase in temperature comes primarily from corporations that benefit from the use of fossil fuels and greenhouse gases. A lot of these corporations are those that we use products from on a daily basis, such as Nissan, Colgate, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and many more. Greenpeace 2010 states corporations cause $2.2 trillion in environmental damage every year. The report calculated about half the cost was associated with the release of greenhouse gases. Some of the world's biggest corporations have begun to take a stand to help the environment and protect our planet. Just Capital 2019 states in 2019 alone, Apple allocated $2.5 billion to 40 environmental initiatives around the world. Amazon pledged to the carbon neutral by 2040, and Target committed to source 100% of its electricity from renewable source by 2030. Although to hope to save our planet can be seen as nearly impossible, there are actually many things all of us can do to help our planet and slow down climate change. On a daily basis, just watching what we eat and what we use can affect the world around us. Inside Climate News website 2019 states, simple things we can do in our everyday life to help our planet, such as cutting down on our intake of meat and dairy. The Environmental Working Group found that red meat is responsible for 10 to 40 times as many greenhouse emissions as common vegetables and grains. If the grain fed to livestock were fed to people, we could feed 800 million people. We can use reusable water bottles and lunch containers for food to limit plastic intake, reduce our car driving habits to avoid air pollution, reduce our paper usage to avoid deforestation, and watch how we use our water. Taking shorter showers and turning off the tap water while brushing our teeth can help the planet. The simplest thing we can do to help our planet is switch to using reusable straws rather than plastic straws. Our Last Straw website 2020 states that plastic drinking straws are among the top 10 contributors to marine debris pollution. They do not biodegrade but break down into smaller microplastics that have made their way into our food chain and the deepest trenches of our oceans. The hospitality industry can significantly reduce plastic pollution, and many restaurants and hotels across the world have already begun to make changes using paper straws or not providing straws at all. A straw is not a need, and we can help our planet by simply not using one or having a reusable straw. Like stated before, corporations play the biggest contribution to climate change. Protesting corporations that damage our planet is an effective way to save the environment by having them change their environment and work policies. In September 2019, many strikes took place against climate change, primarily workers against their employers. NBC News 2019 reported these strikes hope to put pressure on politicians and policymakers to combat climate change. For decades, many corporations have single-mindedly pursued profits at the expense of everything else: employees, communities, and the air, land, and water we all share. Amazon, for example, had more than 1,400 employees strike against the company's practices that have contributed to the current climate crisis. We now know that reaching zero emissions by 2030 won't be easy, but this is not the time to shy away from the challenge. Amazon Employees for Climate Justice said in a statement through NBC News 2019 that it is becoming clear that climate is a crisis right now and it affects every single person. Every corner of the world needs to take action. The USGS website 2020 states the long-term effects of climate change in the US means that the decreasing snowpack in the western mountains and increased frequency will lower intensity and duration of heat waves in cities that currently experience them will increase. Overall, the effects of climate change in the long run, as stated by NASA 2020, is that temperatures will continue to rise, changes in precipitation patterns, more droughts, more heat waves, hurricanes will become stronger and more intense, sea levels will rise 1 to 4 feet by 2100, and Arctic will become ice-free. Reversing climate change is possible, and the effects of doing so will be great. Saving our environment, saving endangered species, and overall make our lives and our world a better place to live in. Climate change is a change in our global climate patterns due to high levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. This is essentially causing our planet to die. The increase in carbon dioxide in our air comes primarily from corporations' use of fossil fuels and greenhouse gases, as well as our everyday expenses such as driving, buying products from said corporations. People should begin to adjust their diet, find reusable containers, bottles, straws to avoid plastic air pollution, be aware of our surroundings, and change our driving habits to decrease air pollution, and many more. Most importantly, protest corporations that only focus on making profits in the expense of our environment. Climate change is a serious topic that affects all of us. If it affects our environment and it is affecting species around us, it's about time that we see the effect on ourselves. That's why it is very important for everyone to understand what climate change is, how it's affecting our planet, and how it's affecting you. Next time you meet with someone about this topic, don't ask them if they believe in it, because it is not a conspiracy. Evidence of climate change is all around us. Instead, ask them if they understand climate change and how they can help halt it. We only get one planet, so we all need to come together and save it now before it's too late. With everything listed that each of us can do, we can visualize a positive future for ourselves and future generations. But what will our planet endure if we continue to live our lives the way we currently are? If we don't make our changes right now, we will see irreversible changes that we'll never be able to change. This could cause the extinction of all species, including the human race. Thank you.